What's up fellas, Moon here. I'm not going to really have a script for this video, I'm just going to kind of rattle off the top of my brain, but I wanted to make a video just talking about how I've come back to WoW PvP and I've surprisingly been enjoying myself a lot. I think the main factor behind this is that I don't really have a challenge or a particular goal set in mind, and I'm more so just playing for fun. Season 4 I've always seen as kind of a, well, how do I put this? I don't want to say the word joke because it's not really like, you know, you can still get rewards and stuff from the game, but it's not really a season that I take seriously because generally speaking, season 4 has the least amount of players of any expansion, at least in a historical sense. For some reason, it does feel like there are more people playing season 4 than there were season 3 of Dragonflight, but because it's so close to the beginning of the next expansion, you'll see that there's a lot of players that generally drop off and then come back for season 1 of the new expansion, where rewards are generally easier to get, MMR is generally easier to get. Now I think with season 4 as well, the MMR actually did not reset completely from season 3, so it'll be easier to get things in this season 4 than historically. But I've been using this opportunity to make new classes and try out new types of playstyles that I normally wouldn't have been open to, because I've always been in a position where I've been forced to be the healer to try to make friends. To my surprise, a good bit of my connections that I made during the Zero to Hero series, and even a little bit before then, are still around, still playing the game, and I was able to link up with to where I don't necessarily have to be the healer anymore, or have to pug in LFG looking for a healer for like an hour, because still nobody wants to be a healer. But I've made a couple healer friends, and so I've been able to try out the DPS classes that I want to play, and personally, out of everything I've played thus far, I find Frost Mage to be the most fun. I feel that there is so much I can do with the Mage class in general. It has a ton of the utility that Shaman had. It's got a lot of mobility, it's got a lot of defensives that it can go through, and if you play it well, you can live for a really long time. Doubly so if you have a healer that can keep you up, like a Restoration Druid or a Holy Paladin. And the best part about at least playing the Frost spec is that I love to see melee DPS suffer, specifically warriors, and I get to make that happen. That being said, whenever I queue up for a random battleground and load into a team versus 5 marksman hunters, the pain that I've previously inflicted on the melee community is doubled and given right back to me in the form of going 100 to 0 through altar time through my barriers in the matter of one aim shot in the rapid fire. And so it really begs the question of if I do want to re-roll going into the War Within, because I'm having a little bit of a class identity crisis, you could call it. Although I feel as though this season is definitely the perfect time to start trying things out, because we've got, it says on my screen here, 50 days until the next expansion, or at least until the pre-patch for next expansion. So there's a lot of time to experiment the various playstyles that you may think works for you, and then dumping some of those initial hours into that specialization so that when it does come time for the new season and the new expansion, you don't look like a complete fool. I also am predicting a sort of renaissance within World of Warcraft PvP, specifically with the rated BG Blitz mode. I am excited to see how that plays out. Now granted, I'm not going to be completely naive and say that, oh, we're so back, wow, PvP, it's going to be great, we're going to be in the golden ages again. We've long since passed the golden ages, but if the stars do align, I think we can see a revival in some sort, mainly due to the fact that a lot of MMO players who would be willing to dabble into PvP like that MMO PvP aspect, such as, you know, throwing spells around on battlegrounds like Warsong Gulch or Arathi Basin. Whereas Arena is much like a high-paced, action-packed chess game that does have a significant higher barrier to entry than, say, random rated battlegrounds. And I think removing that initial barrier to the rated battleground, which is needing a full pre-made 10-man group involving 1 tank, 3 healers, 6 DPS, and then making sure that everybody is playing the meta specs because of how few teams are on the ladder, then you're going to queue into 3 Mistweaver monks and then get absolutely destroyed. That sort of stuff won't happen. And then additionally, when you remove the faction barriers too, to where it doesn't matter if you're Horde or Alliance, you can just kind of get into a queue and get into a game, I think that'll serve it well too. Additionally, I feel like the faction barriers should be removed now for random BGs. While I have been enjoying myself greatly in the casual sense of playing random battlegrounds and playing BG Blitz, the unrated mode, just to kind of get some reps in, mess around on the Frost Mage, try things out, I have noticed that queue syncing pre-mades, they are still a thing. They still do make the game miserable. And I feel as though if you remove the faction barriers, you get 1, quicker queues for everybody involved, and then 2, the pre-mades have chances of facing each other as well. And I made another video which seemed to have been well received by the PvP community, where I talked about PvP being a funnel where you take casual PvP content at the top of the funnel, and then from there, when you get people hooked, that's when you can get them into more competitive types of PvP such as BG Blitz and such as Arena. So I think if we can improve things for the casual PvP players, it still will have a trickle-down effect on the rest of the PvP community in a good way. And I know that I, as a content creator, had my sort of phase where I went to Dead by Daylight and was like, oh, well, do I want to branch out? Do I want to be variety? I'll admit that I did lose a lot of confidence in myself as a creator when I failed the challenge that I had set out for myself. I realized that I can still have fun with World of Warcraft PvP. I can still be a WoW PvP content creator. And then eventually, expand into all of World of Warcraft, because this game is fucking massive. You will almost never run out of content to make for it. Something just sort of reignited my passion for this game and develop a great sense of appreciation for this community, I think mainly due to how small it is. Your reputation is still very important, and unlike the time where I did my Mythic Plus, for instance, where people were viewed as a lot more expendable, it seems as though that people within the PvP community know each other. People who have run into me several months ago recognize my name or recognize the first video that I made of the Zero to Hero series, and that's something that's still cool. And all in all, the PvP community is significantly more tame than some other communities on the internet. I have unfortunately found out the hard way. But I think that'll do it for today. I just wanted to make a little short video, but saying that, I'm back, I'm super happy, I'm super excited for the future, and I guess if I'm going to lock in on the mage, I'm going to need some more rogue and warlock friends. So if you happen to play either of those specs and you want to play PvP, let me know. Let me drop a little something in the comments, But yeah, that's all for today's video. Until next time, this is Moon, playing WoW PvP, and signing out.